Yeah, the discussion were very beneficial. And I think we are following on what was going on since morning, which I've also been following. And I've been asked to share and discuss about digital transformation in African manufacturing. As you have introduced, my name is Chris Motisia, East Africa IT lead in HICOM. Generally here, it's known as Domans. And I'm going to start with this question, which I've framed up there. What is 4.0 digital transformation? I know this has been mentioned by the presenters before, but I'm picking it on the line of transformation in manufacturing sector. And on my side, I'll give a brief where I'll say we define the digital transformation as the adoption of sophisticated electronic tools and software application to replace manual processes or simple spreadsheets to improve an organization efficiency, flexibility, resilience, profitability, or other measures. I know this is a theoretical definition, and I'll say that each and every company is looking into efficiency, it's looking into flexibility, it's looking into resilience, and also for profitability. And in fact, I think profitability is a key to each and every company. When you hear people today in our country talking about the famous bill, it is all because it is affecting their profitability or even the future of their profitability. And we may say that it is adoption of a sophisticated electronic tools. But again, practically we will say that it is an adoption of processes, which at times they may be even very simple. It is adoption of tools. It is combination of what we have. It may not be that it's sophisticated as the theoretical definition may tell us. And then it may be the next to achieve what we want to get in our factories, in our manufacturing sector, and again in our businesses. That is the efficiency, flexibility, this resilience, and the profitability that we are looking at, and maybe even other measures. I'll go to the next slide, where I want us to look into these three pillars of the digital transformation, and of which we have to connect these three, which are the people, the processes, and the technology. For our industries to be efficient, to be resilient, to have that profitability, we need the proper connection between the people, the processes, and the technology. And the first of it is that we need to have the people on board. But for us to know what kind of people we need or we must have on board, we must be clear of our processes. And that happens in manufacturing. In our case, we are talking about coffee, where we are talking about a tree to cup. I know famously, you know about a Dorman's coffee, which you are giving a coffee that you are taking at the supermarkets, in our restaurants. But at the background, we have the tree side of it, the planting. We have the cherries, the parchment, the green coffee, the roasting. and then the packaging to bring it to you to the supermarket. And to get our processes clear, we must map each and every process. We must be able to get our chain well mapped so that the processes will be efficient. And I will base so much on the manufacturing side of it. I'll not go to the side of the green coffee, or even the red cherries, the parchments, which we have mapped the processes and the automation side of it. When we come to addressing the issue of people, we must address the skill gaps, which in most cases affect what people are doing. We must bring each and every person on board. And this again, I'll mention later when we are talking about the failure of digital transformation. But when we are talking of people, we must factor also change management in digital transformation, because most of our people or most of our manufacturing has been manual, or people are used to manual processes. But now when we are talking of making them automated, where we bring in technology, it is very important that we factor change management. And this again, we come with the non-linear value creation, where we must address the issues of change. We must be able, or we need to have a situation where we can easily create changes in our processes. And like in our situation where we bring in a coffee for roasting, and we start with like our bill of material, where you need to map what do you need, which processes do you need, and where we understand exactly what we want as our outcome. And then from there, we need to address the issue of technology. And the technology brings in our requirements of machines, our systems, which most of it is computer driven. Of course, we have our manufacturing machines also. And this takes us to the next slide, where we say then how to gain a competitive advantage in our digital transformation. And the first is by having the streamlined processes. Going back to my slide 2, where I've talked of the 3 pillars of digital transformation. Mapping our processes, or for any manufacturing sector, where I said we need to map our processes. Then this process need to be streamlined. Before we automate any kind of process, maybe in our sector where we have coffee, but this also applies to each and every other sector in manufacturing. We must again be very clear about these processes. We need to streamline our processes. We need to map our processes. And the team that is working on it, also we need to bring each and every person on board. Our staff need to understand the processes. And then you need the right people in each and every step of our manufacturing. And then from there, you need to get the automation. And when it comes to the automation side of it, here you need now to have the integration between your tools, your software, and the team that is going to help you to move now your data. This means you get the correct tools, and the correct tools are: do you have the correct computers? Do you have the correct machines? Do you have the correct software running? How are you interfacing between, if it is your factory, your manufacturing machines, are you interfacing them if need be to your systems, to your ERP? Have you mapped the processes again between your the manual, your software, and then the team? And then again, you need it brings about the increased automation, which is going to help you now to take over or remove repetitive processes. Because in most cases, when we are automating, you realize that there are many repetitive processes. And these are the ones which automation comes to help and remove them. They are redundant processes when we are working the manual processes. And automation will help us to remove those redundant processes, will help us to remove those repetitive processes. And in our case, when we were doing our automation, which is a continuous also, and you see one thing that is there is no end to automation. There is no end to streamlining the processes. You do one process, you say, now I think we have achieved this, but this brings us to the next level. Actually, you end up starting once again, like where we are. I know we have done several cycles of automation. We do one, we finish. Then once you finish, then you realize you have another need. You either restart it or you start improving on what you're doing. And each and every process, it takes you to more resilience of your manufacturing. It takes you to more efficiency of your manufacturing. I know the first presenters talked about AI. We talked about IoTs. And these are coming again to help in automation as a new circles for more efficiency. They are coming into as a new also to remove redundancy or redundant processes. So my friends, I'll say that automation has no end. We keep on improving. If it is in our coffee, we keep on improving. And then I'll go to the next slide, which has a question which is asking then how can technology improve competitiveness and productivity? And I'll say it helps in streamlining operations. It helps in enhancing communication and collaboration. It helps in empowering remote working. And also it helps in empowering data-driven decision-making and promoting innovation and agility. Once we have automated our processes, once we have acquired the right technology into our processes, like in our case, we have seen it is streamlining our operations in our factories. We have seen it streamlining our operations, even going backwards to the farms. The use of technology and automation, that is the digital transformation, we have seen it enhancing communication and the collaboration between the different teams. And in most cases, these teams will find that they are not seated in one place. They are in different areas. So the use of automation has empowered many people also to be able to work even remotely, remote offices. And all of them using the same ERPs, the same systems. And again, this eliminates the verbal and the manual way of communicating, because by acquiring technology and more so ERPs and also data which is from our manufacturing systems or plant, we realize that the data is in our ERP and each and every person can find it in. And like where I come from, working with various organizations in ecom, when I started my introduction, I said I work with ecom, but here people know it more of dormancy coffee. You'll realize that we have like systems which are working like for farm management, green coffee management, and then what is famous and what you know so much, dormancy coffee, which brings the ready coffee to you, the roasted coffee. The systems will work seamlessly from one ERP to the other, and each and every person will find the data in the system. Of course, at times, which is also part of digital transformation, there is the use of emails, which are known, which and every one of us is using. But then where we value a situation where each and every step moves through the ERP. If I create my bill of material, then the next person will pick it up and he'll know what he needs to get or take from the warehouse or from the store. And the person who is seated in the manufacturing plant will know what he needs to produce, because it was done by the person who was doing the production planning. And then he'll pick from what came from the store, and he'll go ahead to do the production. The person who is picking again in the finished goods store will pick it from the system, and you see what has been produced again, compare with what has physically been produced. And this again transitions to those who are doing our sales or the invoicing team, who will interface between our production and our sales team. Our sales team will present again in the sales orders, again in the same system, which will compare what has been produced and received into a finished goods warehouse with what has been ordered. And in case we have a divisions or there is a shortage, those who are doing the planning, then they get it or pick it from the system, and they know here we have a shortage. In the same systems, again, it will give you, or we are able to know, to see what we have in the store versus what is required within a certain period. And this helps us also so much in planning. And when I talk of a system, especially in our manufacturing, sales, and to the end product, we are using a Sage Evolution for our production. While backwards, we are using a Navision 9 for our green coffee management and the farm management, which is again interfaced with a custom-made system, which helps us in what we call capping. I want to welcome you to Dormans one day so that you can see what we call as capping. That is determining the quality of coffee. We have a system that is a customized. It's that our sales we have developed here. So it interfaces between a vision and the Sage Evolution. And by use of technology or this digital transformation, I've seen it also promoting innovation and also agility in the way we are working. At times, it brings the challenges that keep us thinking each and every time. As I said, that there is no end to digital transformation, and there is no end to automation. Whatever we have done, it keeps us thinking, what can we do next? Because it brings in new challenges. And then I was doing some research when I was requested to do this presentation. And in this research, it is said that over 70% of digital transformations end up failing. And I think we have been into this, running through East Africa. I've been in some very difficult digital transformation situations. I'll say personally, I've also been involved in some which have failed, some which have delayed, some which have taken very long. And that is what led me to ask this question of why do 70% of digital transformation processes fail? And this is because of where we have not factored the change management. And the change, when we are factoring change management, we have then to factor the 5 S, or we have to take the 5 S as our new mantra. When we started digital transformation, and we don't map what exactly we want to do, or at times if we fail to come up with a digital transformation strategy, then that leads us to a failure. Some of the transformations that we personally have tried and have seen them take longer than others in different countries or even different companies in our group are situations where we have just said we want this to be done. And if there is no proper strategy, or we fail to factor the audience, and those are the people, the assets. The assets include the people and again, the technology. Remember the 3 pillars that I mentioned in the second slide. And then we have to factor the access to that, to the assets and to that technology. This takes us to avoid the failures. So change management in each and every digital transformation in manufacturing sector, and probably in each and every sector, change management is a must. And the change management is not fixed. It depends from one area to the other. It depends from one company to the other. It depends from our different one audience. I don't know what to call them. Let me use different peoples. For example, what I may do here in Kenya, at times it may not be applicable in Kampala. At times may not be applicable in Tanzania. But we want to achieve the same thing. And this is where I need to understand my audience. I need to know who am I working with. I need to know what is their culture in approaching this transformation. What is the culture in what they are doing? For example, if I want to automate the handling of cherry is what we pick from the farms. If I want to automate the picking of cherry, I want to see it put in a system, for example, in a vision. Here in Tatu, we are in Tatu here in Nairobi. Or I want to see it in the system in Namamve, in the industrial park in Kampala. I need to understand how are these people handling here in Chad, how are the people handling in Kampala. So when I'm approaching these people to avoid resistance in what I want to do, I must understand them so that I can bring them on board. And bring them on board now, these are my most important assets. If I try any kind of digital transformation in any kind of manufacturing, and I don't factor people as my most important factor, then in most cases there will be delay in this process, or there will be delay in my automation, or there will be total resistance. And then again, I need to check, apart from people, I need to check into the technology, which was the other pillar in the 3 pillars. I need to check into this technology. What is available for me to achieve the digital transformation? Is it connectivity from Liquid, from another person? Is it the computers? Is it the ERP? Do I have the correct tools? If I want the data to come directly from the manufacturing plant, do I have the correct interfaces?
Right.
If I want to automate the right from the gate, I need to ask myself, do I have the correct tools which are going to interface with the ERP? And then how are they accessible by the users? Have I trained the users?
Definitely, Mr. Mutisia, definitely this looks like it is the holy grail that we can be able to adhere to when it comes to why 70% of the digital transformations fail. We would like to probably just get some closing remarks from you, Mr. Mutisia, even as we proceed. Your 15 seconds closing remarks to our viewers.
My closing remarks are that we must make the 5 Heads as our new mantra. We must have a digital transformation strategy if we want to succeed. Thank you.